Welcome to episode 77 of the Twig Snapper Podcast. Today I'm joined by Lauren Hatcher of the Colorado Buffaloes women's hockey team. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for joining me on short notice, too. All right, so I guess the best place to start is kind of with your recruitment and well, if you had any. I know some club teams don't really recruit, they just kind of advertise the club and people join. And choosing to attend Colorado, so I guess that's a good place to start.
I chose to attend Colorado just because it's beautiful and I'm in love with the mountains, the whole vibe of the place. I'm actually from Minnesota, so something different that I'm hoping to experience. My team does recruit. Most of my class was recruited, but at the time when I contacted the coach, he didn't have any more spots available, and he told me that I could try out. So I tried out and made it pretty cool.
So when you went to Colorado, you didn't have intentions of playing initially?
I wanted to play, I just didn't have a guaranteed spot on the team.
Okay, I got you. So you had it in mind. You just had to, take a few extra steps, try out, and everything to make the squad. All right. So one thing I've noticed about the ACHA when I've been interviewing different people and keeping up with it is sometimes there's some lopsided scores,
Yeah.
and you had a few of those this past season. You guys had 4 games where you scored 15 or more goals. So I guess maybe touch on that a little bit. Just kind of once the team gets rolling and you just keep stacking up the goals.
So the teams that we have been kind of beating with those like 15-0 games are Montana and Wyoming, and they're new teams to our league, so they're definitely looking for more players and girls that are of equal like playing field to our team since they're just brand new starting out. But hopefully, eventually, the scores won't be as lopsided.
Yeah, I noticed like across the league, there's quite a few instances where there's lopsided scores, um, but it's difficult if you have a new program. It's hard to just like get people to want to buy into your program and want to join your school when there's really no guarantee on how good you're going to be or what they're going to get out of it. So it takes obviously years to build, but in a way that can't be fun to like just beat up on a team. Like, I mean, it like partly I could imagine it would be, but then also not.
Yeah, it's not our favorite teams to play necessarily. We're definitely looking for more competitive games for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really get anything out of it. You just,
No.
it doesn't really benefit your team when you just absolutely beat up on somebody. So hopefully, like you said, in the coming years, they'll be able to get their recruiting, more to a competitive level. But you see it in the NCAA too. When new teams come in, they can't necessarily field a full team or get the caliber of players as other teams. So, how seriously does Colorado take it? I mean, I know some ACHA teams don't take it very seriously. They treat it more like a club. Others treat it more like college hockey, more like NCAA hockey. They take it very seriously.
Yes. So our goal is to always to make it to nationals and hopefully compete with other teams at nationals. My freshman year we did qualify, but we practice 3 days a week and then play on weekends. And then it's the expectation that we all do off ice training at least 3 days to beat ASU and make it to national.
What was that? You kind of cut out there for a sec. The something about ASU.
Oh, ASU is one of our big rivals. Always to make
Yeah.
that's our goal is to beat them every year.
Okay. So they're like your biggest rival out of all the teams you play. All right. So in a recruiting sense, do they take it pretty seriously too?
They're starting to. So in previous years, it was treated more like club hockey, and I would say now
Yeah.
towards treating it more like NCAA D3, and at least some teams are. Um,
Yeah. Are you guys one of those teams that's starting to treat it more like?
and ever
Yeah.
since like 2 years of me playing, both of the coaches that I've had are trying to recruit players.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, to try to sell club hockey to people who don't necessarily understand it, because I feel like it's kind of a misunderstood league. It's not, people see that kind of that club sports label and they just assume that it's, like people have a different viewpoint on club sports, but it's really a high level of hockey. It's really competitive and it's kind of an underrated league. It's growing, obviously, too. There's a lot of media presence over the past year about ACHA hockey, which is really good, showing some light into the league.
It's a very flexible league. It kind of allows us to live a more balanced life with school being priority, but also like we take hockey very seriously.
Yeah, so you can continue playing your hockey, career, but you don't have to focus on it as much. Like you said, you practice 3 days a week, and you're expected to do more, but you can do it on your own time, opposed to being on an NCAA team where you've got set practices every single day and lifts and all this other stuff. So, if somebody asked you why play ACHA hockey, why do you play ACH hockey? What's the benefits? Like, what would you tell them? What if you had to give them a list of the reasons why they should?
Yes, I just think it's a less controlling league than the NCAA is, like with their athletes. It allows more flexibility with our scheduling. We still get to travel just as much as NCAA. I mean, my team travels to a lot of places just because we're the West Coast Conference, and like Arizona is not necessarily close. But yeah, and it allows time for social life as well. And then school is the priority, like I said, where a lot of the girls I know are double majoring, so it allows them time to focus on their school.
Yeah. So if you want to play hockey, but you also want to not give up the rest of your life, then the ACHA is a good route for you to go.
And I would say ACHA is definitely a very competitive league for sure. It's not like the standard what you think of when you think of club hockey. So.
Right. Yeah. No, the ACHA there's very good hockey. I mean, many of these ACHA teams could totally beat Division 1 or Division 2 teams. Some certain one. I mean, Division 3. Sorry. But like Liberty women's hockey, I mean, so many. They're so good. And if you look at the men's side, Minot State and Adrian and some of these teams, they could definitely beat lower tier D1 or D3 teams. So I think that's like a testament of how good the team is, or teams are. And Minot on the men's side is playing Division 1 teams next year, so it'll be really interesting to see how they do. Yeah. You guys have pretty sweet jerseys too. A lot of the club teams do. That's one thing I've noticed, and I'm a big jersey guy. Like for all sports, I really like jerseys. I get into jerseys, and I like different jersey combos and stuff. So I'm always looking at teams, and a lot of teams have boring jerseys. And you look at like the University of Michigan football. They've had the same jerseys forever, but they're just boring. It's like the navy blue and the yellow helmet. It just doesn't light a fire for me. But you look at your jerseys, and it's kind of like the standard Colorado colors, the jerseys that like all of the sports teams have, which I think is kind of nice because you're a club team, but you're rocking in the same style as all of the NCAA teams.
I mean, we are like the only women's hockey team at my school, and same with the men's D1, ACHA D1 and D2 teams. We're the only hockey teams there is. There's not NCAA at our school. So
right. So you guys get to rock it like you are the NCAA team. When we were texting back and forth before the episode, you mentioned that you had to overcome a lot of injuries throughout your career. So I was wondering if you could kind of go through your different injuries, how you've overcome them, and to get to where you are now.
So in high school, I dealt with a lot of injuries. I tore my quad, I tore my hamstring twice, I broke my collarbone, dislocated my shoulder, tore my, you name it. I've been through a lot, but yeah, so I'm studying sports psychology college. I want to be a sports psychologist someday to help other athletes overcome mental side of sports and overcome their injuries as well.
Do you think that's the hardest part of an injury is the mental recovery opposed to the physical?
For
Yeah.
sure.
So, I mean, how many things did you just list there? Like, yeah. I mean, were they all pretty close together? Were they spread out throughout high school? I mean, how did you even put a high school career together when you were injured so much?
Constant of injury, recovering from the injury, then I would get back to sports and then be injured again. So I didn't get much playing time in high school. Didn't get a lot of time I didn't get to show my potential really to my coaches. So I was always struggling to recover. But finally in college, I was able to play some. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously dealing with any injury is hard mentally because there's a small part of you that wonders if it'll affect your performance after, can I play again? Will I re-injure myself? There's so many things mentally, but you almost had to have been more afraid of what am I going to injure next? Like there were so many different things that you kept injuring.
But it definitely taught me how to be strong and be resilient for sure.
Yeah. What was the time frame for a lot of these injury recoveries? I mean, were they a couple months, half a year?
The hamstring and quad were about 3 weeks, and then like the collarbone was like 6 months. I had a high ankle sprain that was pretty bad. That was like 3 months. This year I actually had a concussion, so that I'm still recovering from that, but I'm fine. So, but health challenges.
Yeah, just another one added on the list.
But
That's crazy. The amount of injuries that you listed there, and the fact that you're still playing. A lot of people would probably give up too. They'd be like, "Well, obviously I'm cursed or something. I just better stop."
I love hockey too much to give it up. So
yeah, exactly. Hockey is life, right? So kind of turning away from Colorado hockey, going to Colorado, do you follow other Colorado sports?
Yeah, I follow the men's hockey teams at my school. Just we're really close with them. And I follow the football team as well, just because our new head coach is Deion Sanders. So
Yeah. So is there a lot of hype around just students around campus for the football season coming up?
oh, in the previous years we've been terrible. Our football team.
Yeah. Yeah, they were 1-11 last year, the biggest point differential out of all of college football. I mean, it was not good. Have you been to games?
Yes, I've been to games, but they're not as fun as they should be because we're losing all the time. But
they will be this next year, though. Deion brought a lot of energy. He's got a big personality, so I mean, like that in itself, even if it's kind of hard to go from 1-11 to making the playoffs in 1 year. So any improvement is good, but I feel like even if the team is just at 500 or whatever, with Deion, and his energy and stuff, it'll feel different. Building your way back.
Yes, I think it's going to change the whole culture of the school as well.
Yeah. All of the athletic programs will kind of, when you have one that, can kind of spearhead that, then it can help the other ones can kind of follow and when you've got teams that are 1-11, it kind of drags them all down, because you've got that horrible team, part of your, not a lot of success, and it just drags the whole athletic department down.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This was kind of random. I just saw it on your Instagram, and the surfboard. You had a picture with a surfboard. You were in Costa Rica. Had you surfed before you went to Costa Rica? Like, did you know how to surf and everything when you got there, or did you just learn there?
I learned how to surf for real there. We have at my cabin we wake surf sometimes, so behind the boat, but it's definitely surfing in the ocean.
So is it hard to to learn?
I think learning to wake surf is harder because you have to learn how to get up with like the rope and move over to like one side of the wave. Surfing in the ocean, I mean, catching the wave is the hardest part, but once you're up, I don't think it's that hard. But it was a blast.
Yeah. Would you surf again? Like, would you want to keep doing it someday? It's one thing I've never surfed. I haven't wake surfed either. Like I've water skied and stuff behind boats, but I've never wake surfed. So that'd be fun someday to give it a try.
I'd love grad school somewhere by the ocean to surf. So.
Yeah, somewhere where you can just hit the beach up every day after class, surf for an hour, and then go back and do some homework. I also noticed you had a picture about karaoke, and I've asked this people just like randomly because I think it's kind of a fun question to ask. But since you had a picture doing karaoke, what's your go-to karaoke song? If you had to go up and do karaoke, what are you gonna pick?
I gotta go Fergalicious by Fergie.
Really? That's the first time I've heard that one. Actually, so far most of the ones I've heard have been kind of out there. Like I feel like most people, there's like a couple generic ones that everybody kind of knows and everyone goes with, but Fergalicious is one I haven't heard. And somebody said Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, which is not a like karaoke song at all. And I can't remember what one of the other ones was, but it's like that's like not a karaoke song. People don't sing that. But I mean, I could see Fergalicious kind of like that'd get the joint moving. Like
When I'm with my friends to do.
Yeah. Right. It helps when you have other people up there, doing karaoke with you, opposed to like the spotlight's just on you, just on you. But you have to have the right personality for karaoke. Like I don't know if I could. Like I love, singing in the shower or like going on a run or singing and like just in my apartment by myself. I can belt it out, but I don't know if I get up in front of a bunch of people I know at a bar and let it loose. I don't know. Could be kind of embarrassing. I'd probably have to have a few drinks in me first to get me up there, and then like I couldn't just do it stone cold sober. That's probably not going to happen. So, what kind of music do you like overall?
I listen to all types of music, but lately I can listen to hardcore rap before games, but lately I've been listening to a lot of reggae, which is interesting, but I work that's what I do during my job.
Like new reggae, Bob Marley. Yeah. You can't go wrong with Bob Marley. He's obviously he's the king of reggae, but I mean, he's fantastic. I wouldn't say I listen to a lot of reggae other than Bob Marley, but Bob Marley is really good. You can't go wrong with Bob Marley and the Wailers. And then obviously, and his kids got some reggae too. I haven't really listened to him a lot, but Ziggy Marley. Yeah. So reggae and hardcore rap.
Listen to Taylor Swift. I listen to everything.
Yeah. You say you listen to everything, but do you listen to death metal and
metal? I don't listen to.
Yeah, electronic or I don't know.
Little sick, but
nothing. A classical like Bach or Beethoven or something. So no death metal, no classical.
Yes.
Otherwise, pretty much everything. See, I would say I do listen to everything because I do listen to death metal. I do listen to classical. I listen to, pop and country from like the 50s all the way to not so much modern country. I don't really vibe with it. It's too poppy. Like Last Night by Morgan Wallen, that's good. And When It Rains, It Pours, Luke Combs, that's pretty good too. But otherwise, I don't know. I like a lot of 90s country. I like Toby Keith in the early 2000s kind of stuff too. So, overall, though, I'd say I listen to everything. I just listen to less of some things than others, like today's hits.
Yeah.
You know, not huge on today's hits. Although I have to say, Megan Trainor's been putting out a few good songs. Like I've Made You Look and Mother, and they're pretty good. They're catchy. But music is, some people are just. I only listen to country. It's the only thing. I only listen to rap. I only listen to pop, and I listen to nothing else. I can't be that focused. So what are your hobbies? When you're not playing hockey, because we already determined that hockey is life. What are your other hobbies?
I like to travel. I like to visit new places. I snowmobile in the winter. I'm from Minnesota, so that's where what I do in the winter other than play hockey, and in Colorado. So that's a big hobby I've picked up.
So just trail riding, or you go off trail and play in the powder too?
I'm more of a trail riding person.
I think it's more fun to go off into a field and toss it around, and
I stuck, and then my dad has to help bail me out usually, and
yeah. But it's all part of it, though. Is getting stuck. That's all part of the get throwing. It's just part of the experience. It might not be a fun part of it, but it's. So you said traveling too. Where's your favorite place you've ever gone, or where are some of the places you've gone? I guess.
I've been to Mexico a couple times. I've been to Costa Rica this year, and my favorite place I've ever been is Jamaica.
Wow, so a lot of warm climates, island nations, different. You're not traveling to Alaska or Sweden. You're going.
So
Wait, what was that? You broke up there for a sec.
I'd love to travel the world, though.
But yeah, it's hard. There's too many places to go. There's not enough time. I guess the biggest thing is there's not enough money because it's so expensive. Like there's so many places in Europe that I want to go, but it's plane tickets are like $3,000. I've been to Europe, but there's more places I want to go. I want to go to. There's so many. Every country's got such a unique culture. There's so many, world historical places that I want to go to, but I'm not a millionaire, so
too many, not enough time or money. So
right, exactly. If you were just extremely wealthy and like somebody ran your business for you and you were a millionaire, you could probably do it because you'd have time to travel and you'd have the money. But just living in everyday life, you can't do it. All right. Why don't we end it on a goal for next year for yourself, for the team, both, just one of them, whatever.
I'd like to score some more goals and get faster. And I'd like my team to make it nationals and hopefully compete with some of the higher level teams.
So when you say score some more goals, are we talking like 30 goal season,
We'll see. I'd like to score at least 15 goals next year. So
that's an admirable goal. You gotta, what they say, shoot, you want to shoot for the stars, but you also don't want to be like so unrealistic where you're never going to attain it. So I think 15 goals is definitely an attainable one. So all right. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Kind of covered all kinds of stuff from Colorado to injuries to being a world traveler. So thank you for joining me on this episode of the podcast. It was a good time.
for having me.
Yeah, of course.
One.